We're going
We'll
live,
figure it out.
Luz.
We'll
Okay.
figure it out.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. Hey, welcome to Kennrod Live. This is our monthly show where Kennrod, we focus, Kelley selects a person to focus on a deep dive into careers and an idea of what a career looks like, what they need to do to prepare themselves for the career. So we want to welcome Marshall with Chick-fil-a.
Yay!
Marshall McCabe. And Kelley, we all know Kelley as the driver of Kennrod and providing educational opportunities, providing kids with a better pathway to a career that they would love to get involved with. So she carefully selects, like, Marshall, this is a big deal.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many people are trying to get on this show, on Kelley's show, and somehow you made it through the process.
Wow.
You're chosen. So
I feel special.
congratulations.
We're so glad to have you, Marshall.
Thank you very much.
Pete.
So I love talking Chick-fil-A. So this is going to be a wonderful show. Love to talk to an operator too. So let's dive in and give people an idea of who you are and who's on the show today. So Marshall, talk about like a little bio about yourself so people can get a frame of reference of, a little of your background, family, and then we'll talk about Chick-fil-A after that.
Sure. Thank you, Pete. And thank you, Kelley, for having me here today. Just like everyone that's out there, I was starting my career trying to say, how do I start? And that's probably the hardest thing for all young people. When you go to college, you go to high school, you think, okay, I get my education like mom and dad want me to get my schooling. And when I get out, I'm going to get a 6-digit income. And how do I go about finding that opportunity? And then you get to a point going, it's tough. It's really hard. And what has happened to so many young people is they sit back and wait and find out it's not as easy as you think. So being from West Virginia, I was graduated in hospitality. So the first thing I had to find out for myself was, what is my passion? What do I enjoy doing? And that's being in front of people, talking to people, kind of enjoy getting to know people and relationships. And, when I'm going to say the word relationship, you're going to hear it over and over. It's not about your job when you first start. It's about what is your interest. What do you gravitate towards? What do you like to do? A lot of people love Chick-fil-A, love the food. Well, it didn't start for me with Chick-fil-A. I didn't think food was even in my horizon. So it's interesting to see how I became into Chick-fil-A. But I actually started in hospitality, and I went to every hotel in my hometown to get in hospitality because I thought the hotel business would be great. I saw myself in Tahiti, working at a resort, having all the connections and the relationships. And, I'm going to be happy, go lucky, sitting on the beach somewhere going, this is the best job ever. So I knew I had to start somewhere. And I started with a job that was 11 at night till 7 in the morning. It was called the night audit job. Probably the graveyard shift, if you want to know exactly what that was. But the coolest thing about it was, I didn't make a lot of money, but it was just a chance to get my foot in the door. And when I say foot in the door, that's where you got to start. It's not about the income. It's about the opportunity. And once I got inside the hospitality business, I started realizing there's a lot of people here that I looked up to, the general manager, the front desk manager, and find out more about who they are, where they came from. That's kind of a starting point for me. And that's what really got me started with Marriott. But the cool thing was I worked at night and I got to meet all kinds of great celebrities because we were beside a convention center. 3 in the morning, here comes Ozzy Osbourne, said hi to me and checked in the hotel. You think how cool that was at age, 20, 21 years old. And I met Ozzy Osbourne. So this became exciting for me. And then I became sort of the light of the front desk at night, entertaining celebrities and all the people that came in. And it just became one thing after another. And people picked up on me and said, you got a great personality. Have you ever thought about going into sales and marketing? And I'm like, no, I really haven't. They said, you would do really well in sales and marketing. you're getting recognized by all these customers. Again, not making much money, but they gave me the opportunity to pursue sales and marketing. Someone took me under their arm and said, you need to get yourself out there to find that opportunity. So with that opportunity, I started putting my resume out there and didn't get a lot of hits, didn't get a lot of responses, but I kept being persistent. And I went and on an interview, making a minimal amount of money to go to Washington, D.C. and interviewed at a hotel there because it was in the system. So I went there and it was in human resources. So I was like, no, that's not really what I want to do. But then I got a chance to go to Atlanta, and Courtyard by Marriott was the new chain that Marriott started when I got out of school. And they said, well, we can take you as a sales coordinator. So I took it as a sales coordinator job. Again, I didn't know how I was going to make it. I put everything in a U-Haul and I went to Atlanta, took this opportunity and learned the hospitality business through Courtyard by Marriott. And that's kind of where my starting point was. And the relationships I built there were just tremendous. And getting to know people in Atlanta, getting involved in the community. I worked with some nonprofits. Fellowship of Christian Athletes was one of the groups I worked with. Getting to know the community. And one thing led to another. And fortunate for me, and I guess it was just meant to be, that the travel industry really took a hit during the Persian Gulf War, and a lot of people were getting laid off with my company, and that got me concerned. What am I going to do for a career now? The hotel industry is starting to really take a hit, and the person that was in my company with Marriott said, Marshall, you got a lot of potential. You're young. We might be shutting down our corporate office. Just giving you a heads up. We'd like to keep you, and we're not sure how long. And that was enough for me to go, okay, I need to get in the funeral business or the food business. And I knew at that point that would be a good industry to get into. And I learned a lot about Chick-fil-A because I always went and ate at Chick-fil-A, and it started with a chicken sandwich. And when I got to know the people at Chick-fil-A, I was so impressed with their hospitality. And they were studying Marriott at the time. Again, I was making $7 an hour for Marriott in Atlanta, Georgia. And that was years ago. But I took that opportunity, and next thing I learned was the fact that I got to get in with a company like Chick-fil-A and interview with them, and that was my starting point. And I'll show you kind of my start here with me going from being with Chick-fil-A. I became an owner at the location that was near where my corporate office, and I convinced them that I need to be the person to take the store at Acres Mill, and then it turned into Cumberland Mall and then SunTrust Park, just because showing people that I was grateful with the opportunity. And so here's my profile here, was going from the university to Marriott, getting my foot in the door, and then got to Chick-fil-A, worked at their corporate office, and then became an owner operator because of my relationship and my opportunity of the area that I knew Marriott had a Courtyard in, and convinced Chick-fil-A that I wanted to be an owner operator with no food service experience. So again, it was just by luck and the timing. They felt like, well, we can teach anybody how to cook chicken. Let's give Marshall a chance. And so here's a picture of me back in West Virginia. My mom sent this to me with the original Colonel Sanders. Truett Cathy came to my restaurant one day and saw that. And said, I'm glad, if you'll read that, it says, to Marshall McCabe, glad you came to the right chicken house, S. Truett Cathy. And Truett Cathy said, I've never seen an owner operator with the original Colonel Sanders. So that was pretty interesting that I had that picture and Truett picked up on it. And it was an awesome experience. And Truett Cathy was a personal friend of mine that was excited to see a young person with a lot of drive to make things happen. So with all that said, I got involved in the community with the local schools, the Rotary Club, and I was actually at corporate for about 4 years, and now I run 3 restaurants with about 120 employees and run SunTrust Park because it's right in my area. And this is Truett Cathy right here, and this is one of his sayings that all of us is to, climb carefully, but no goal's too high if we climb with care and confidence. And I think confidence is a lot of things that a lot of people look for that Chick-fil-A strives for, is that let's be confident when we grow. We don't have to be the biggest restaurant chain in the world, but let's have the best people. And that's been their focus with Chick-fil-A, was to do the fact Chick-fil-A did actually have the opportunity to grow their company and be very selective on their people and have the opportunity for them to be successful in every marketplace. So again, it taught me a lot about discipline. It taught me a lot about being patient. Everybody wants that job at the very end of the rainbow. But how I started with a U-Haul in my car was the fact that I just got involved. And I can tell you right now, relationships is everything to your career. If you don't have a job, find a job somewhere you like to work. It could be like I did with Marriott, and I worked whatever job they had available to get me started. So I throw that out there just to give you an idea. I sold programs before that at a AA baseball park, just to get out and start making a little bit of money and see how the world works. If you sit back and wait, everybody's going to pass you by. And internships are great. If you see a company that you admire, you're inspired, go try that opportunity to get somewhere in their company, just even at the ground level, to experience the company. And then people pick up on you. Always do a job that's beyond what they expect. And that's the other thing I say. I always was trying to go one step further than what my expectation was. And I think a lot of people today just do the job, get the paycheck, and go home. The kids that work for me that I pick up on is when they're cleaning the counter or they're cleaning the back of the house, and I didn't ask them to do it. They want to do it because they're proud of their job. So when you do a job, you want to do it fully to the best of your capability. That's how you get picked up on, not just doing the job, get a paycheck, and complaining that you want another job. I like people that are enthusiastic and want to be there, because if they want to be there, I want them to be there. And if customers love them, what does that radiate back to me? That radiates back to me that Sarah is like one of your best employees. And I love that feedback. So that's the kind of way you get recognized out there. And that's what I would say. My biggest success was relationships, getting to know people that were in a job that I wanted, but also I learned from them by asking them a lot of questions and showing enthusiasm and interest in what they did. So that's probably the quickest bullet points I can give you to help direct you when you get out, not to sit back and wait, but take that opportunity to go, what interests me? What company out there do I like? How do I get my foot in the door? Let me go look up that company on the webpage and learn about the company. That impressed people too as well.
No, I mean, there's a lot packed in there of lessons that young people can, learn when when you're sharing that. And I think that's, I think we talked, I know we were talking before the program started, is it would have been nice if somebody could have kind of laid out something for you that you could have, kind of had a roadmap of what, because you go to college or you're graduating from high school, whatever it is, and you're kind of thinking, what do I want to do? And so that process of jumping into different things with internships, getting exposed to as many variety of opportunities based on what you're passionate about, interested in, or whatever, is going to give you an idea. Do you connect with it? And I also love what you said about relationships. I know Kelley and I have talked about it numerous times on the show, as there's nothing more important than building relationships. And so you want to do that in every aspect of your life. And as you're getting out of school, you want to have a lot of relationships built so you can, be able to reach out to these people and get doors open. If you don't have a relationship, I always say it's like those deposits. If you don't make deposits in the bank and you want to take something out, ain't nothing there. But if you're making those deposits and doing things for people, serving in the community and various other things, when you need to make that deposit or you calling on somebody and you've built up, let's say relationship dollars, then you can use them.
Well, and one thing I put out there is my regional vice president, because I became relationship oriented and stopped by his office, I wasn't intimidated. I was more impressed to talk to him about football, college football, things that I saw that were on his back of his desk that was of interest to him. So I got to know him on a personal level. If he didn't take me aside and tell me that our corporate office, our regional office, was going to be shut down and that I need to look for another opportunity, but we're going to keep you around. We're going to keep you, but we're not sure how long. He took a personal interest in me to give me that heads up before I was laid off without an opportunity. So again, if he didn't care about me and I didn't have a relationship with him, I'd be one of the other people that got laid off without any notice. and then wondered what
Totally.
happened. So he gave me the heads up long enough that I was able to look out there for another career, not knowing what the future looked like or if Marriott was going to come back, which it has. But, the travel industry is very, happens when there's wars or things that happen. People just don't travel. So him giving me the heads up made things a lot easier for me to go, oh, gosh, I need to find a job. And fortunately for me, I was a fan of Chick-fil-A. So I start pursuing Chick-fil-A. Once I learned more about Chick-fil-A, it blew me away how impressed I was. And I've been there ever since. So now we're looking at 30 years later.
Wow.
I'm where I'm at because of that opportunity to step in and do whatever they asked me to do. Because I went in talking to them about being an owner operator, and they're like, well, you don't have any experience. Would you be interested in going back to West Virginia if you want to be an owner operator? And I'm like, well, no, I'm very confident I'll do great here in Atlanta. I appreciate your time. They were like, well, you didn't have all the sales and marketing experience. Would you like to go talk to someone in sales and marketing? I didn't say no. I said, sure. Well, I went to be a sales and marketing person first, a business consultant, and then became an owner operator in Atlanta, Georgia, which when I started to ask for Atlanta, they go, well, everybody wants Atlanta Chick-fil-A's. Unfortunately, the only thing we could maybe even consider for you would be West Virginia, and you'd have to go learn to run a restaurant before we give you that opportunity. But what about sales and marketing? So I went the different route, sales, marketing, business consultant, and look, I'm 3 stores in Atlanta now, with everybody telling me I wasn't going to be able to be an owner operator in Atlanta. So there's no roadmap for anybody. All you do is take that opportunity, do the best you can. I did the best I could in the corporate field. And then when I saw that store at Acres Mill being built, that happened to be in the same area that I opened the last Courtyard by Marriott behind Cumberland Mall. So I convinced them going, hey, I know all the corporate clients. I know the Galleria buildings. I know Home Depot's headquarters is there. Again, selling myself. And they said, well, you don't know anything about operations. I said, I can learn operations if y'all give me a chance. So there's a success of saying I didn't give up. I just kept being persistent and understood the process, but also was respectful. And I had to wait 4 months because they didn't really have corporate people leave to go be owner operators. So everybody in my whole company had to be involved in the process. It's a lot different now, but back then they're like, "Are you sure Marshall can do this? Are we sure we want to let him out of the corporate headquarters and let him go be an owner operator?" And so I had to go through all those hoops and convince everybody over and over and over this is what I wanted to do. So that's, again, not taking no, but also being respectful and sharing with them my heart of why I thought I'd be well adapted in that area, knowing the area that I did. Give me a chance. That's what I asked for, is a chance to show them. So, and now they think it was the best idea ever. They're like, that was the greatest idea we ever did, was put you out there in the field, and of course, I give them credit now.
Pete, can you check the system? I'm hearing a little bit of background noise.
So I hear like a phone text coming in. Somebody's phone's not silent. Is that what you're hearing?
It seems like we had a little bit of an echo, but it's better now. It's better now.
Okay. I don't hear anything. I did hear like when a text comes in, it'll make that sound. So I did hear that. So I checked mine. It might be, could be yours, Marshall, possibly. Awesome.
Well, Marshall, you were spot on. I just have to say, thank you in terms of really sharing your experience. You did not just land as Chick-fil-A owner of multiple stores. There is a journey. And that journey started with you being willing to start at any level in Marriott because you wanted to gain the experience and you saw it as a way to get in the door. And how that one experience initially played a huge part into where you are right now. And that's often what I share with our students is, there's so many opportunities out there. You have to be open for the opportunities.
Yep.
You never know who you're going to meet that is going to help position you for where you ultimately want to be. So I just want to thank you, for sharing that. And I do have a couple of questions that I'd like to ask you. First, that is so exciting that you've been able to share about Truett Cathy and you're having the opportunity to really work alongside with him. Can you tell us a little bit more, especially since you were there at the corporate office, about what it was like?
Yeah, he was remarkable. He poured into everybody, and it's we call it servant leadership, and it's something that Chick-fil-A stands out with the company, is to treat everybody on every level of the company as the most important person. And when I first started, Truett looked over at me and smiled and goes, "Well, you got the right haircut to come on board with Chick-fil-A." So I said, well, that's the first compliment I've ever gotten on my head, my head being bald. I said, "Thank you, Truett," and Truett's bald, as you know. But he was intentional to see somebody young like myself that had a lot of energy to invest into me. And I had the opportunity to drive him around and get to know him on a personal level. He came to my Vinings Rotary Club and spoke in my community. I invited him to come to my 10-year anniversary at Acres Mill, and he came. And he always loved to be asked to do things, and he would never say no. He also was involved me into finding ham bones at Honey Baked Ham, which I had one in my shopping center, and he's a businessman. It was so funny. He goes, "Do you know someone that works for Honey Baked Ham?" I said, "Yeah, Truett." And he opened up a pizza restaurant. Some people might know that and might not, in Fayetteville. And he wanted the ham bones for his potato soup. And he asked me if I could get him a deal on them. And I'm like, he goes, "I'm paying $7 each for them down in Fayetteville, but I love the sweetness of that ham bone." He goes, "Marshall, can you see if you can get me a deal?" Well, I know the guy in my shopping center, relationships again. I told him, "Truett Cathy, the founder of Chick-fil-A, wants ham bones." I'm like, "Don't ask me why, just do you have ham bones, and would share them that we could buy them from you?" Well, he said, "Sure." He goes, "Can we get a deal?" Sure. He gave me 3 for $7. Well, Truett's paying $7 for one. Well, everybody in the home office laughed because everybody in the executive office goes, "You're now the distributor of ham bones for Truett." So Truett gave me his credit card. I'm like, I wonder how high I can take this thing.
Exactly.
I'm so excited to have his credit card. And he called me personally every time they got low on ham bones to come bring ham bones to his restaurant in Fayetteville. That's where I lived. And just personally called me. Didn't want to talk to anybody else. So when I went to the home office, everybody goes, "Hey, ham bone distributor." I was the ham bone distributor. So that was fun. And then I also had the opportunity to fly Truett in a helicopter to Georgia Baptist Hospital. It was our first opening of a hospital, and I was at the Georgia Baptist with their PR team, and I heard the helicopter over our head, and I said, "Wouldn't it be cool if we could use this helicopter y'all use for life flight and bring it to our corporate office and pick Truett Cathy up in it?" So again, I took that risk, threw it out there. Truett loved it, and I got to fly down to pick Truett Cathy up and bring him back, and we're on the front page of Atlanta Journal saying Chick-fil-A's landed its first hospital location with Truett Cathy getting out of it. So Truett just loved the fact that I wasn't like just do what everybody tells me to do. I was kind of that risk taker, and what's people going to say? But no, So that was fun. And then one that really touched my heart, and this is how Truett Cathy is, and this is one story out of a million stories of all the kind things he's done for people. He was visiting a friend of his that he went to Sunday school with, and they were best friends at Azalea Estates, which was an assisted living home in Fayetteville, Georgia. And my mom was there. She had a stroke. She had 5 boys. I'm the youngest of 5. And she came. She was just paralyzed on her right side from the stroke, but mentally she was all there. And we spent a lot of years together. And she was down there and calls me one day and goes, "Hey, I met your boss today." I said, "My boss?" "Yeah, Truett Cathy, the big man, the big chicken." I'm like, "Mom," I said, "What did he come down and speak to you all and talk to the whole group down there?" She goes, "No, honey, he knocked on the door and came in and sat with me. And we talked for about 30 minutes. He's the sweetest man. He was so complimentary about you coming on board for Chick-fil-A and just wanted to know how I was doing, how I like Georgia." Oh my gosh, you talk about, touching my heart. You're talking about my mom now. My mom has a relationship now with Truett Cathy. And that's just the kind of person he was. Unannounced, knocked on her door, brought her a whole bushel of Washington cherries that she had in her room when I went down there. And he goes, "He's the sweetest man." And that's just what he's done for so many people. He always thought of others first. And that's what I try to use the same example of serving leadership in my restaurants is I don't go in and talk to all my management team. I talk to all the workers on the front line first and pat them on the back, talk to them. "How was today?" "Oh, it was a rough day. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it." I'll take roses into all the girls, every occasion. I'll have pizza parties. I'll have wing parties just to show people you appreciate them. People are looking for a place to work that people care about them. That's so true. Some people will leave for 50 cents more, $1 more an hour. they end up coming back to me because they're not treated the same. We try to make it like a family in there. And I know when I first started, it's so intimidating because everybody's getting jobs when I got out of school. And I just want to share this too, is the fact that don't let other people intimidate you about what job they got. Figure out what you want, and don't let other people decide your future. Because when I went to work for Chick-fil-A, I had friends of mine laugh at me and go, "You're leaving Marriott for Chick-fil-A? What are you going to do, fried chicken?" Now they call me and go, "Hey, how do I get on board with Chick-fil-A?" You know? So, but Truett, Kathy, and the entire family, Dan, Kathy, and all of them, I've had a personal relationship being there as long as I have. And, you know, we're trying to keep a big company that we are now a small company, and that's our focus. And to treat everybody with honor, dignity, and respect in our company. We try to do that with our customers. We try not to be judgmental. We try to be, you know, show hospitality, because one thing I teach all my employees is everybody comes through our drive-through, everybody comes to our restaurant is in a different world in their life. You know, some people have just gone through a divorce. Some people just got married. Some people just had a baby. Someone just lost a baby. Someone just got promoted. Someone just lost their job. I said, when I make all my employees think about that, if it's okay if somebody takes a smart yell at you that, you know, that they were upset about something, just smile at them, make their day, treat them with kindness, treat them with honor and dignity. They are there for a reason to get fed, and we have a chance to touch them, you know, in 30 seconds or less to make their day better or worse. I said, think about what choice you want to make today to help us grow our company and keep it small and show people we care. So that's a lot that we learned on servant leadership. Truett, Kathy was by far the example. And I also had more opportunities, more stories I could share with you, but I got to open his Forest Park Dwarf House location, and what made me feel like the most important person there. And I was sweating, putting up balloons, trying to decorate the place. And he brought me a Coca-Cola. I mean, just the small things that you don't realize that people say, wow, he cares about me. You know, here's somebody that owns this company, making me feel like I'm the most important person in the company. And that's true with everybody in our company. So that's how we do it all the way to the bottom of the front line of all our stores.
And that really resonates I think it really resonates for your customers, because by and large, I'm a customer, and I know every time I've gone to a Chick-fil-A, whether it's in Chicago, Atlanta, Alabama, there's a standard of service that I always see. And I can always anticipate that once I say thank you, the other person on the other end is going to say my pleasure.
Absolutely.
And that is something so powerful, especially when you see that across all of the stores. It really says a lot about the leadership. So thank you so much. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I read Truett Cathy's book and read about his story, because I really wanted to hear and understand more about how do you replicate this over and over? And we know that the true testament of leadership is about what happens when you're no longer there.
Right.
And to see his work continuing to go forward is really, really a beautiful thing. I have to tell you, Marshall, because I know Pete cannot wait to jump in. Because when I told him that you were coming for our live stream, I love Chick-fil-A. My family loves Chick-fil-A. So Pete, go for it.
Awesome. Yeah, I've got 22 questions here. Sure. And I'm hoping I get 22 answers.
Yeah.
No, so we all coming out of COVID, and companies had to pivot. They had to make some changes, and obviously the restaurant industry got, hit pretty hard. It didn't seem like Chick-fil-A really did. So I know I see all the drive-throughs, and my daughter worked at Chick-fil-A, so I have general numbers of what the percentage of business that comes through the drive-through. So tell me, how quickly did y'all adapt to a new environment in COVID, and what was the thought after you implemented what you guys are doing now?
Well, it was definitely uncertain times, and all of us were learning together as a company. And I give a lot of credit to Chick-fil-A because they stayed in the forefront of what the expectations were, how to keep our employees safe, and then also how do we adapt and change so we can keep our businesses open, keep people employed. That was the big focus, is the people that work for Chick-fil-A, and keeping providing that opportunity for our customers as well. I have a triple drive-through. It's a 3-lane drive-through only. So I had the right business at the right time. Talk about timing. That we have walk-up windows, but it's at Acres Mill. It's a corporate area, and it's, you can sit outside, but we had just drive-through only place. So all our stores ended up shutting our dining rooms down and keeping the drive-through play going. So that's where you saw the drive-throughs. And what we found out is we're more efficient because we're out taking customers' orders versus customers looking at the menu board trying to decide what they want. We go out and try to assist them, help them, get them through quicker, faster, and better. And without the dining rooms, we didn't have so many people pulling in the dining room and all the parking spots. So the parking spots weren't being utilized, people backing up, stopping the drive-through. We found out that our business was better than ever to keep the drive-throughs only. And then we did all the safe measures that was required of us. And the biggest thing was, washing hands, having masks, having the plexiglass. And we were on the first forefront of setting that up. And then everybody was wearing gloves. I mean, we were learning as we were going. And I think the blessing of us is the food is something that people, is still a necessity. It's an essential need of this world. And we kind of were the beacon of light to, have you stay in your car, minimal movement of food, which we put in a container and hand it to you through a container to your car. So there was no touching each other or using, the gloves. And then also the credit card machines were already there for you to put in without us touching the credit card. So we adapted quickly. And believe it or not, Pete, we ended up having our best year ever through COVID.
Wow.
Our sales continued to climb, and they were better than the year before. They continued every year. We've had sales increase, and this was by far one of our best years because everybody trusted Chick-fil-A. And it goes back to you, Kelley. I love Chick-fil-A. I know it's going to be right if I'm in Chicago, if I'm in New York, or where I am. We all stay together on that, on letting people feel the comfort of knowing that we were doing everything right as best as we could, and let people feel they could trust Chick-fil-A as somewhere to come that was safe. We were doing the right protocols. And I think that movement right there became our leadership in the fast food industry or the quick service industry through all the other ones trying to figure it out. We were on the forefront of it all. So shutting our dining rooms down, keeping our businesses open, being safe to our customers and to our employees, making everybody do temperature checks when they walked in the door, making everybody wash their hands, wear gloves, don't touch the food. Everything we were doing seemed to be the right momentum that now led us to be the leader through the whole pandemic. And now everybody looks to us as like, wow, y'all really have done a great job. And a lot of our stores still have not opened the dining rooms, and they're okay with it. They said it's easier to run their stores. They say, Marshall, you figured it out. We want a store like yours. I don't know how you figured it out. I'm like, things just happen for a reason. I was just blessed to have that kind of business, and we didn't have to alter as much as the other people did.
I saw no, it wasn't the first one, but one of the ones pretty recently. Windy Hill closed down for a period of time to put in some more additional drive-through, and then Town Center, and then up in Kennesaw, Cobb, shutting down, and to make the drive-through experience more, I guess another lane, like you have 3.
Yeah.
So how long are they normally shutting down to put that extra drive-through in place?
Well, Acres Mill used to look like a Checkers drive-through. We had 900 square feet in my building.
Wow.
Until they announced the Braves coming in behind me. I was calling corporate going, Braves are coming. Y'all need to help me. And I got to be on the forefront with Windy Hill. Windy Hill and myself, both because of the Braves Stadium, helped us move up the ladder as far as getting scraped and rebuild. We're realizing after 20 years and 25 years, it's time. The restaurants are worn. Plumbing, the electrical, the drive-throughs obsolete based on the business. So you're seeing Chick-fil-A. And that's the one great thing about our company is they believe in reinvesting into the people that are existing, the stores that they've had out there. Windy Hill is one of the oldest stores. The one at North Druid Hills was the very first Chick-fil-A drive-through or freestanding unit in 1985. It opened and it just got redone. So they spent about $3.5 to $4 million totally scraping the store, redoing the plumbing, redoing everything, all the drains, everything in my store got redone. And it usually takes 5 months. That's the period of time.
5 months. Wow.
And mine was a record because the Braves were coming in 2017, and I got opened right before the Braves Stadium. So I had to reopen Acres Mill, and they gave me the opportunity to take over SunTrust Park, which is now Truist Park, and be the owner-operator of that location because it was right in my back door. So now all my stores are together. And before that, I worked at the again, this is another thing that Truett Cathy loved is I went to the World Congress Center to do the Chick-fil-A Bowl as a consultant for Chick-fil-A.
Mm-hmm.
And became relationship oriented with everybody at the World Congress Center and became real good friends with the general manager, Mark Zimmerman, which is one of my best friends today, because I helped him get chicken biscuits for his wrestling team up in Cobb County and let him resell them at the wrestling matches. And so every Saturday he'd come in to see me. Relationships. He talked to Truett Cathy, and they let me keep all the equipment from the Chick-fil-A Bowl to do the poultry show. It's the International Poultry Show. 25,000 people come to a 3-day show. I put up a big cow, sold all I had to do was make Chick-fil-A sandwiches and a chip and a drink. And we had record sales at the World Congress Center. Truett Cathy got the Lifetime Achievement Award. He gets up on stage. They've never given it to a retailer. The chicken industry's never given it to a retailer to that year. And Truett Cathy gets up there and goes, "Isn't it great? We got Chick-fil-A here," And so everybody in the poultry industry loved it. And there's people from Mexico, from Argentina, from Australia. Everybody's taking pictures, looking at our sandwich, didn't know what Chick-fil-A was. So all of a sudden, we're getting international attention for having Chick-fil-A at the World Congress Center. And then the general manager goes, "We want you down here for every event. We have how many events? 440 a year. We want Marshall McCabe to come down here and run this business for you." And Truett looks at me. Truett Cathy looks at me and goes, "Marshall, do you want to run this?" And I'm like, "Truett, do you know where I can get some equipment?" And we laughed, and I ended up doing that for 19 years at the World Congress Center. So that was the poultry show. Then they have the Big South volleyball show, Cheer Fest. 40,000 cheerleaders come down there. So all I had to do was make one sandwich, one original Chick-fil-A sandwich, a chip, and a drink, and we had lines 50 people deep everywhere we had Chick-fil-A down there. And we got to do the Final Four, and all this became relationships with everybody down there. So again, I was doing Cobb County, but also doing the World Congress Center and the Georgia Dome. And I learned real quickly how to do convention business. And so I do Cobb Galleria beside my store. And then they asked me if I would take on SunTrust. If I gave up downtown and give it to the downtown owners, they would give me SunTrust Park. And I said, absolutely, keep it all in one area. So that's kind of another part of my story, that being an entrepreneur. Who do you think loved that the most? Truett Cathy, because Truett Cathy was an entrepreneur. He started his first Chick-fil-A restaurant in Hateville, Georgia, and he did the work himself. He was on the front line talking to customers, just like I was when I started. I had 9 employees when I walked into my store and had to hire quickly. I opened and closed for 2 years. So again, you do whatever it takes if you get that opportunity. And I was just blessed that all this led up to more things and more things for me to be able to keep on. Everybody goes, "Well, is enough for you?" And I'm like, well, as long as I have people, the people part of it is what makes our business run now. Is, you're only as good as your people. And that's what I always try to invest. I invest back into all my young people, because my young people become opportunities of growing their own career. And I've had 7 people that have worked for me that are now owner operators for Chick-fil-A. So that was a blessing.
Wow.
And talk about rewarding. I have someone that was 15 years old that started with me, and now he's in the pursuit of trying to be an owner operator right to this day. He's running my Cumberland Mall store for me. And he goes, "You remember me at 15? And everybody looked at me when I hired him. And he goes, he was your total nerd, I guess is the word I'll use. He looked like he had no clue how to work. He didn't know what he was doing. You know what? But look at him today." And that's what I say, is you got to give young people an opportunity. And because he was so persistent he was on time every time he came to work. He did more than he was asked. And now he's pursuing a career with me, and they started at age 15. So that's shows you that anybody can do anything if you give them a chance.
That's right.
Well, it speaks to grooming and mentoring and pouring into people, pouring into the youth of today, because that seed grows. And, that's a good example of that person you poured into at age 15 that may not on the surface look like that they would be an ideal, operator, but they turned into be one because
and it goes back to
you were
Kelley.
able to help them.
Yeah, it goes back to Kelley. Truett Cathy poured into me. in small amounts, but I was so excited when I saw Truett Cathy, and said hi to him and shook his hand and show people you care. I think that's the big lesson here. And he saw the energy that I had, and the things I got to do with him was just priceless. And the experience I got. And, so many people feel like they're intimidated by people of leadership. Leadership people need love too. They need someone to come in and just talk to them about the day and what's going on. They have so much pressure on them. And I'll take somebody that's young that did something special at my store and say, let's go over to Longhorn and grab a hamburger real quick. You talk about, they tell everybody in the whole store. Marshall took me out to lunch. I took a girl that we were doing a contest for our new brownies we just came out with. She had the most brownies sold. She worked so hard, but we put all the number of brownies you sold into a hat. So the more you sold, the more chances you had to win. She didn't win the $200. She didn't win the $150. She didn't win the $100, but she was still going, God, I tried so hard. I said, how about a consolation prize? How about lunch with your operator? And she goes, really? I took her to Copeland's, and she was so happy to tell everybody that I went to, and I got this, and I got shrimp, and I got all this. I made him pay, and, it was so much fun to watch her go back and talk to all the people in the store. I didn't win any money, but I got to go have lunch with Marshall, So how many of y'all got to do that? So again, make it a fun environment for people is what I like to do. So treat people the way you want to be treated, I think is a good thing that Truett Cathy taught me.
That's awesome. I just wanted to let everybody know that are listening, block off between now and noontime because we're going to run over. I got 21 more questions, so we're going to probably Kelley. I know Kelley. She'll run with us.
Well, I was just about to say it's almost time to wrap up, and I want to make sure because Marshall has graciously offered to provide us gift cards, and so for all of our partner schools, we have 3. What I'm going to do is collect those gift cards, however many Marshall has, and I will be making a trip to our partner schools, and we'll distribute those to our students and staff as just a way to say thank you. Thank you so much for that, Marshall. And we really, really appreciate it. And like I said, having you here today directly aligns with our core work of college and career readiness and how we can certainly do our part to help our students do the very best that they can as they look toward their future. So I really appreciate that. And I'll connect with you so that I can get those gift cards. And then the fun part for me is I get to make a special trip to our schools.
That's always good.
Yes.
I know my neighbor was Mark Zimmerman, so I know Mark really well and his family. And
small world, right?
Yeah, totally. I hung out at our neighborhood pool with Mark.
Yeah.
We conquered a lot of problems in the world during those conversations. So.
And the greatest thing is Mark and I got to be speakers at all the new owners and new staff members that came into Chick-fil-A. We'd meet at the World Congress Center. And Mark helped them get the Junior Achievement Center, which is a great opportunity for young people to go down and run a business. We actually have a Chick-fil-A there, and we feed them Chick-fil-A.
Oh.
And Mark opened that opportunity. And Dan Cathy said because of Marshall's relationship with Mark Zimmerman, we got this place for nothing, the concourse of where we're at. And again, relationships. So Dan had us come in and speak to all the new owners for about 3 years together. We were the tag team, me and Mark. Just how a chicken biscuit for his wrestling team became a relationship that now we're best friends to this day, and gave Chick-fil-A the opportunity to be at the World Congress Center through Junior Achievement through Dan Cathy. So they love that entrepreneurness to how to build a relationship that became a business for Chick-fil-A at the World Congress Center, the Georgia Dome, and Final Four, and all the things we got to do together. So pretty cool that how that all came together for us.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, and Mark had commented on LinkedIn a while back with one of the interviews that, and I said, hey, we got to interview you. I mean, you've transitioned out of the World Congress Center and now you're consulting. So, so I'll send him this and he'll probably want to follow you or
we'll get back together. Mark and Mark
on the show.
Yeah. I want one more plug out there for you all. Just to, I know there's a lot of young people out there. If you're looking for a summer job, Truist Park, we got the All-Stars coming in July, which is going to be a sellout. We're trying to get to 100% capacity at the stadium. But right now we're starting at about, I think, 15,000 fans. April the 9th, 8th and 9th is opening weekend. But we are still looking for great young people to come work for us. If that's of interest to you, go talk to Kelley, and we'd love to connect you and get you started in the world of retail and work. And who knows where it might lead. You might be your own owner-operator of Chick-fil-A one day.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you,
So,
Marshall.
Sure.
would you want them to contact Kelley and
Yeah, that'd be great.
that, or you want to? I can put your email address or something up on the screen if you want. It's up to
That'd
you.
be fun too.
I can
Okay.
definitely facilitate that at our schools, particularly our high schools.
Totally.
That would be great.
That'd be good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. So, like the first year as an operator, kind of walk us through that first year. You're obviously green behind the ears and trying to figure it all out. But what was that like?
It was probably the hardest thing I ever did. I was a lack of help. That was always the hardest part of our business. If you're short of people, it's not fun. Customers are not happy. Employees are stressed out. You're stressed out. But being my own business, I was determined to be there from open to close to show people I care. It had to start with me, and I had to be the positive cheerleader. I had to be the one going, it's not that bad, even though it was that bad. I had to be the one to keep telling them, it's so easy to complain. It's so easy to be the person to see what's wrong, but it takes a real special person to be positive and keep other people positive. And I teach that to my managers as well is, it can be a bad day, but you can turn it around and say, it's not that bad. I tell you what, let's all get milkshakes tonight because it's been a rough night, do something fun for the team. But it was a nightmare for me because of the lack of help and the lack of not knowing what I was doing. I mean, back then Chick-fil-A basically gave me the keys and said, good luck. Now they won't let you fly for the first 8 weeks. They have people in there that are specialists to train you on everything. So I love the fact that they care that much now. But back then we were a young company, learning the business ourselves, and we were in a real tough job market at the time I started, that every store was struggling with help. And the guys that opened my store, they said they had to get back to their stores. They couldn't help me because they didn't have enough people at their stores. So it was not fun, and I had customers upset. I was writing people personal notes, giving them a check out of my own checking account saying, I'm sorry, here's $3.68 out of my checking account, until my wife looked at me and goes, what are you doing? You're not going to be perfect, okay? You need to let this go. You can apologize and send them a coupon, but you're not sending them money to tell them. And I was writing these personal long notes. I was kind of I had no reality at the time, but I realized that all you had to do is show people you care, invite them back again and say, we're trying our best. I promise you, as soon as I get more help in here, it'll be better, and I'm working as many hours as I can to make it that way. Trust in me. And now it looks like it's all simple. It seems so much easier now, but I just tell that to my employees. When you're shorthanded, you can complain all you want to complain. You can gripe, or you can make it right. You can get yourself in a good mental state and know that tomorrow's another day. And I have this one girl who's been with me 26 years. She started with me.
Wow.
26 years, and her name's Vicky. What I had to do was find the first greatest person I could find was someone that could open my store in the morning, so I didn't have to be there at 5:30 in the morning, because that was wearing on me. And she took my morning crew and made it happen. And she'd call me, so I'd let you know I'm all here by myself. I'm like, oh my God, I'm coming. And when I got there, everybody walked in and we opened the store on time. She's done that at least 10 times, that over all these years. She said, there's no need to get all upset about it. You can't call people and tell them to come in right now. You got to just make it happen. I make it. That's what my nickname, Marshall, make it happen, McCabe. That's what we make it happen, whatever you got to do. And she's like, I just had to make it happen. I started biscuits. I cooked the sausage. I cooked the bacon. I dropped some chicken. I got coffee brewed, the tea brewed. I got the money up front. And I'm just praying that people are coming in. And that's exactly what happened. Is everybody walked in 15 minutes before opening, and everybody took position, and we opened, and it looked like we never had a problem. So that's kind of fun to see people and her do it so positively. But then it's like, you owe me dinner. I'm like, where do you want to go? Yeah.
Well, I'm afraid, Marshall.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have. Yeah, totally. And I'm sorry to disappoint you. You now have a new nickname.
Yeah.
Hambone
Hambone
Marshall.
Marshall.
Yeah.
So Robin is changed to make it happen, Marshall, to
Hambone
Hambone.
Marshall. Yeah.
So let me see. Robin's on a roll. Please contact information. Oh, put contact information up. Okay, I'll put that up again. I'll push it. Okay, and then he's
All right.
he's a non-profit. Runs a nonprofit, the Boys and Girls Club in Paulding County. He's the director of that.
Awesome.
So
Great. Good to have you, Robin. Thank you for your interest.
Robin
Absolutely.
is a quiet, unassuming guy. No, he's not. Robin is got ADD like me, and we like to run and talk and have a good time. So let me get that contact information, and I'll put that back up there. And then I wanted to ask you one more thing. Okay, that's the contact information. I'm wondering if Robin, you reach out to Kelley or myself, and we'll get you in touch with Marshall. So this was interesting. So I always look at, I'm like dialed into the customer service experience, and I just always, and strategy, I love strategy. So I kind of like to break it down and figure out where you make it better and all that. Yeah. So I have a date night with my 4-year-old granddaughter. Mm-hmm. And so she wants to go to Longhorns, so we go to Longhorns, and then we go for a milkshake at Steak and Shake. So we're going through the drive-through, and I order the milkshake, and then I get there and I went, oh shoot, we should order one for your sister. So I say, hey, can you get us another milkshake? And the guy goes, you have to drive through and go through again.
Oh my God.
I said,
I'm glad to hear that about our company.
You're right. You're right here. Can't you make another milkshake? Yeah. And I'm real kind. I mean, it's just, I said, okay. So I drive around again. I come up to the window and it goes, oh, you're back. I said, yes. You told me. Oh, you're back.
Yeah. Oh,
and I just laughed. It's that, like, those touch points, and granted, they're teenagers, but you got to groom them. You got to pour into them. You got to make you make it happen. Hey, it's another 2 minutes. There was nobody behind me. So it's not like there's a long line at 8:00 at night to get a milkshake. But anyway, if you don't instill those kind of servant, my pleasure, the things that Chick-fil-A believes in, they don't necessarily think that's probably not the best customer service option for our business. But yeah, I mean, you always get the most incredible feedback. Well, I don't think I don't know how many years I've been going to Chick-fil-A. I don't think there's been one single time where somebody kind of got angry, lost it, whatever. Not one. I mean, you think somebody would have a bad day.
Yeah, we had a few of those people. It's young people, and helping them navigate through stress is a new nuance for a lot of these kids. And, I think they're feeling it at school, they're feeling it at home, and then they come to work and they feel the pressure of the business. So we try to set up a lot of our successes up on the front end to congratulate them for coming on board with our company and making it feel so special that you got selected to be part of one of the best companies we feel in the country, and America has voted us as the best fast food restaurant, or quick service restaurant, we call it. And then I asked them that question: "Is what does that mean to you? Why do you think people vote us to be the best?" And they always say, "Because you have great service, and then you have great food." I'm like, "Oh, that's true." I said, "But how do you, as an employee now of ours, continue that tradition? You have a lot of expectations. I mean, it's on me, it's on you, it's on all of us to keep that. Does that mean do you catch an attitude when they totally make you mad?" And then we talk about people from all different levels, where they're coming from, and treat people with honor, dignity, and respect, regardless of anything that they might say to you that upsets you, but to try to be positive influence on them. And you only have 30 seconds, compliment them. If you can't say something nice, "I love your car," "Oh, I love your dress," or "I love your blouse," "I love your glasses," "I love your hair," anything makes people take that anger or frustration that they're having into a good day. And so we try to compliment them. And then we also try to help them understand, whenever you go, people are going to look at you as a leader. You work for Chick-fil-A. I've heard of so many employers go, when I see Chick-fil-A on their resume, I hire that person because I know they got trained well. And then I talked to them about that. I said, you're getting this recognition just by coming to our company. Isn't that exciting for you? And then also, do you know about, you get a $2,500 scholarship to go to college. We give that out 4 times. If they work 4 years for us, they can get $2,500 a year for college of their choice, which is huge. Chick-fil-A really poured into young people to help us keep finding that attractive, great people to work. And, I made my daughter work. I made everybody that, said, why not? This opportunity is there for everybody. And Chick-fil-A is very generous to give that out. And so we try to get them to understand the excitement of being part of our company, make them feel special, and then continue that as they work day in, day out, and take that pressure off of them to help them navigate. And they sometimes get short. Sometimes they get mad. The person wants 4 more sauces. They just got 8 sauces. They want 4 more sauces. Just smile at them. Have a great day. And they're like, I know it's going in their refrigerator. It's not for you to judge. Let them have it. It's okay. We're blessed. Okay. So there's a lot of that they want to try to run the business themselves, what is fair and what's not fair, but understand who we are and who you're working for. And it'll come back to you tenfold whenever you go to your next career and understand why we do what we do. So that helps a lot of young people navigate.
That's good. No, I know. I remember I'm sure Barry White.
Yeah.
And Barry, we were in a life group.
He was my
What's
first.
that?
He was the one that I came on board with first in marketing. Barry White.
Oh, is that right?
He's the one that selected me. He selected me. So
that's awesome.
That's good. Yeah, he said this was many years ago when we were in our life group together that when you guys went to California, it was like they don't even know us out there. I mean, it was like you had to build the brand, and it was totally like, hey, you're used to people being familiar with the culture, the product, and all that, and it was brand new, and it took a while before.
Yeah, I went with Barry. We went to Portland, Oregon, and people couldn't even say Chick-fil-A. They were like Chick-fil-A.
Oh wow!
California had no idea. Now we have such presence out there, and everybody wants Chick-fil-A everywhere. That's crazy how California's become just exploded for us. And we started in the malls. That's how Chick-fil-A grew.
I know. I remember that.
We grew all across the country in malls and trying to have an impact on people in the community. When we put one outside the malls, they just flourished. I mean, they've done so well. And again, Truett Cathy navigating through the 70s and the 80s when we were growing so fast to open up a freestanding store by listening to his customers that wanted to go through a drive-through. And he opened his first one, North Druid Hills, and now look at us. We have 2,200 stores now today. It's crazy, and how blessed we are as a company. And still being closed on Sunday. I love having Sunday as a day of rest myself, and it's great not to have a phone call on Sunday. And it's your choice what you want to do on Sunday. We encourage young people to, and that attracts a lot of great people to come work for us. Other businesses make them work Sunday. I have people come that are A players. And they're like, I don't want to work for them anymore because they always make me work Sundays. And that's why I want to come work for Chick-fil-A. And another blessing in disguise that Truett Cathy did. And he needed a rest, himself. He worked 24 hours in Hapeville 6 days a week. And that was a day of rest for him and his family. So
recharge the batteries and y'all need it. There was one thing I wanted to ask you because I thought it was really cool. You probably know Bing Oliver.
Yeah, Bing.
So he presented at our Kennesaw Business Association University, and so he had the picture of, I think there were 6 people in the drive-through, and so you didn't move very much. You just kind of like none of this like bumping into each other, and so it was just it was on the processes and systems that Chick-fil-A had put in place, and then the idea that the milkshake took years because you had to get that thing made quick enough that the drive-through wouldn't bottleneck the drive-through. So I guess there's things in the works that you guys are figuring out, that in testing, but you're a well-oiled machine. Yeah. What are some of the challenges you see as an operator that if you could say the perfect thing, we would do this? Is there anything that you would say?
Yeah. And Marshall, before you respond to that, we're going to wrap up with your response because I do want to be respectful of your time.
Sure.
Totally. Thank you, Kelley. Kelley's our moderator, our time off. She hasn't had to do this to me ever until you came on, Marshall. So your nickname
It
is
shows his excitement.
yeah,
Marshall.
like I don't know what it's Hambone Marshall. Get it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Well,
Go ahead.
our biggest challenge is to keep it simple and not make it so complex of a business. And capacity is our other issue. My store was 900 square feet for 22 years until I have now a 3,000 square foot store. So 900 to 3,000. That's what Chick-fil-A is facing, is having to bring everybody up to the standards of the size that we need for capacity issues. And then also simplicity of our menu. We're getting a little complex. We're letting a lot of things that we're discussing now is everything's almost being custom made. We're starting to be a short order business. A lot of people want fries, no salt. People want, salads with no blue cheese. I want a spicy sandwich with blue cheese crumbles on top. Can you cut it in half and put mayonnaise on it for me? I mean, you don't see that side of it as a customer. You're probably like, I get my number one with Coke. We love customers like that, but it's almost every salad now is having to be custom made. Add bacon, take the egg off, So think about that as we're trying to move the drive-through faster and faster. And now our capacity issues of doing the volume we're doing, and then the specialty orders that, people want well done, extra crispy sandwiches, that we had to stop doing that because our operation couldn't handle making sandwiches specially overcooked and then having people say, well, that's not enough, I want more. And think about how much time we're spending on the customers trying to please that one customer, and we're just placing 12 more customers that are in line trying to make one customer happy. So I think our strategy-wise, we're looking at that. I think it's a concern of all us owners is we want to give everybody the best product, the best service. Do we stick to our recipes, or do we keep on trying to please every customer? And what's the boundaries of how far we're going? I want a fruit cup, but I don't like apples. Can I have it all strawberries and blueberries? I'd like to have that too. So those are the challenges. Well, they do it at every other Chick-fil-A. That's what we always get. They do it at the other Chick-fil-A's, and sometimes we have to say, well, it's probably best that you go back to that Chick-fil-A because we can't do it here. And we don't want to get that way, but that is the truth of what the world's coming to. Everybody wants it their way, and we try to please customers, and it becomes a bigger issue. So I think that's one of our biggest issues right now as we do the volume that we're doing and trying to make every customer completely happy. And if we're going to make an error, that's where we make our errors, is doing a specialty meal.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you are fast casual. There's a key word in there, fast.
Right.
So, that makes sense. All right, Kelley, I know we are wrapping it up.
Yes.
So we want everybody to just be aware that Kennrod, what they do in the community in serving the youth of America, because as Marshall was saying, I mean, you got to invest in the youth. They're going to be taking over. And so, Kelley's organization invests in the youth with educational opportunities and bringing people like Marshall in so they can see what career opportunities they have. So lots of needs there. We have intern needs at the Kennrod organization. So contact Kelley. We'll teach you everything about certain things like digital and serving nonprofits and that kind of thing. So donations. Gosh, I mean, if you're looking to put your dollars somewhere, Kelley's organization's a great spot to park some dollars. So go on their website, which is right here. Go on their website and certainly help out Kennrod. Kelley, thanks so much for what you do.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you so much. Thanks again, Marshall, for being with us today.
Yes.
And I will follow up with you regarding those gift cards.
Absolutely.
Have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you, guys.
Everybody.
Awesome.
See y'all.
All right. Thanks, Marshall.
Thank you all.
You bet.